Hi, my name is Andrew Holt with Holt Design Company. We specialize in assisting electrical utilities and engineering firms in intelligent substation design using AutoCAD Electrical and the Substation Design Suite from Spatial Business Systems. In this video, I want to show you some of the great new features that are a part of the latest release of the Substation Design Suite toolkit. Now, this is version 7.4.2, and there's a lot of new stuff. You're really going to love it. So let's get to it. One of the first things that you're going to notice about the latest release of the SDS toolkit is that we now have 3 different ribbons. This is an upgrade over the previous 2 when we just had the SDS Tools and the SDS Projects ribbon. Now we've got Projects and Schematic and Panel Wiring Diagram. So obviously tools associated with these types of drawings are going to be tied to that ribbon. So if you're working on a panel or a wiring diagram drawing, you are going to be mostly inside of this ribbon using the tools that are here. When you're doing your schematics, obviously you're going to be inside of this ribbon, and then for larger project work, you might be over here. There's now a lot more real estate for commands to be on the top level. Now that we've separated things out like this, I just think that there's a lot more that's visible and it's easier to find stuff. I've been working with this for maybe a month or so, and I like it a lot better because it's easier to find things. Another nice thing is, you've got all of these panels here, but if you don't need one, you just right click, show panels, and say, I don't know what this copy clip thing is. I never use it, so let's get rid of it. So I'd recommend taking some time going through this, learning the new geography of where the commands are. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure that part out. Almost all of it's at the top level now, which is great. And so I think it's quicker. It's easier to find the things that you're looking for. Let's take a look here at the SDS Projects ribbon. Just want to show a little bit over here. This is now, the data editor is right here available. This is where we do our wildcards, find and replace. I think this is new, the include project file in the wildcard search. That means if you have wildcards in a project file, you can do a find and replace even inside the project file. So it's not just limited to your drawings anymore. Let's get rid of that and take a look at the SDS settings. This is pretty familiar. There's an upgrade here on the status stuff. We'll take a look at that in a little bit, but it's all very familiar. And then, if you're ever wondering what version of the toolkit do I have, you may have known to type in SDS new. Well, now you can just click on it and it will show you. Okay, so that's all there. It's the new ribbons. You've got 3 of them now, a lot more space. Again, take an opportunity to work with them and figure out the new layouts. All right, well, let's take a look at some of the enhancements that have been made. First of all, let's go ahead and go to the SDS settings menu here. So I'm just going to click that. And I mentioned earlier the status. This has been upgraded quite a bit. In the past, there were 3 predefined statuses. I think it was add, remove, and existing. Well, now you can have, basically an infinite number of statuses, and they can all be custom. It doesn't have to be add. I could change that to addition or something like that. Just leave it as add because that makes more sense. But you can change all these. You can add some. Exploded, I don't know why I have exploded in there, but who knows? You never know what might happen. Let's just go ahead and add option 8, and we'll call this ID 8. And these numbers, these numbers could be anything. They don't have to go in this order. And you can change, the highlight color and then set a layer name. So we'll just say status option 8. Okay. So we'll save that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the job work order mark display tool, which is right here on the SDS Projects ribbon. Now there have been quite a few enhancements made to the user interface. First one I want to show you is this header line here. Right now it's showing the 3-letter abbreviations of each of our statuses. So we've got add, remove, existing, revised, reconnected, abandoned, exploded, and option 8. Now I can just hit this toggle And that will change my status abbreviations to the actual status numbers that are associated with those. And the nice thing about this is once I hit this toggle, it's going to remember that in every new dialog that opens up that's related to this tool. Let's go ahead and create a work order here. We'll just do W0 or WO001. We're going to add that, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit add. We're going to mark this parent symbol right here. This is a parent power supply. We're going to go ahead and mark that as add. Okay, now because I've marked a parent, I can go ahead and hit done exit, and it's going to bring up, all of the associated child or panel components for this specific entity. I'll just hit update all, and as you can see, now we've got our intelligent table, and we've got each of these components have now been added to the add status layer. A nice enhancement to the rollover tool, which is right here, now looks like a paint roller, and it will now display a job work order name and the status. We're going to go back to this, and I just want to show you again just some enhancements throughout this. We can hide this. I think this is a little cleaner now. It's a little easier to see everything. If I go to the report, well, just remember here I've got my numbers here. If I go to the report, I'm going to want to save the drawing, and you saw it switch from the original 3-character abbreviations to the numbers. All right, let's take a look at a new tool. This one is for editing and updating signal codes on source arrows or destination arrows. So we've got a couple of source arrows here. This tool is called Edit Update Sig Codes. It's right here under the Cable Fan In Scheme Flyout. It's this tool right here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and it brings up your standard edit source arrow dialog. Now, if I had clicked on a destination arrow, it would have brought up that dialog. So this actually works both ways. You can go from a source to a destination, and from a destination to a source. So I'm just going to change this to something else. Let's say _X. So I hit OK. And it says update SIG code values on linked source destination arrow symbols to maintain the original source destination links. So I can either do this or not do this. And it's telling me what the old SIG code was, what the new SIG code is, and then the drawings that are going to be affected by an update. And it looks like I've got a destination. I've got one destination arrow on that particular drawing. And so let's go ahead and update that. What happened is that it updated a component on a closed drawing. So what needs to happen in order for that change to get processed out to the database, the project database, is that I need to now rebuild the database. We'll go ahead and do that. And that just takes us to the standard rebuild database menu. And we'll just do a full rebuild. And this is an important thing to remember because we're making changes on closed drawings. So if a drawing is closed and something changes on it, we need to process that change into the database. So now I'm going to surf on this, and you can see that drawing, there was a destination arrow that was associated with it, and they're now still associated. Let's go ahead and go straight to that destination arrow, and let's take a look at this. There's that new updated signal code. So I can then go back to this, and I can say, you know what, let's take that back to what it was before. And now it says, oh, this drawing, one source arrow, it's going to update one source arrow. I'm going to hit OK. Now, it didn't ask me to rebuild the database because this drawing was open. So that change was processed immediately. There you see it. Okay, we've moved to a new drawing so that we can show off an enhancement to an existing tool. This is going to be an enhancement to the SDS Fan Fix tool, which is a really helpful tool. We've got our cable markers here, okay? Now here is our wiring diagram where we're showing, we've already got our annotation in, we've already got everything fanned out, and so this is all in place. This is the way we want it to look. But then we realize we need to make a change to our cable tag. let's just go ahead and add our, let's add an X to the end of this. We can go ahead and, update this across everything in the project. And that's a very good thing to remember to do. Okay. So I'm going to update everything on this particular drawing. But let's say, for whatever reason, this doesn't get processed, that change doesn't get processed out to the wiring diagram. So now I have a mismatch. In cable tag here, this is now C361X, and this is now C361. And so you're working along, and maybe you make some other changes, and so you need to come in here and you need to re-annotate. Okay, so we're going to go over to our panel wiring diagram ribbon and our add anno tool here. And we're just going to re-annotate these three connections here. So now what we have is we have a mismatch in our cable tag. Annotation is all over our fan in. So, you can use the anno fan fix tool to go ahead and just reset these to the way you want them to be. All right. I'll hit return. And now it found a change in the fan in cable tag. And it says displayed cable tag value on the fan in cable, which is down here. It doesn't match the cable's value in the annotation. So there's now a quality check for that. And it asks you if you want to update. And we'll say okay. And so now we've updated this to C361X. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back to this particular drawing because we're going to show an update that has been made to the parent-child selective update option. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this component, and we're just going to change it back to C361. Okay, now I could do the normal AutoCAD Electrical update and just update everything on this drawing and any other drawings. But I want to show you the selective update. And this isn't particularly a new feature, but it does have a helpful enhancement. So what it's showing us here is it's going to go through all the child components, and it has highlighted here the change that has been made. So we're only changing this tag value. Okay, and we can just kind of process our way through this. But a nice feature that's been added is a back button, so that we can go back to the ones that we've already done. And we can go back and, obviously we don't want to update any of this stuff. And so we're just going to go ahead and skip ahead. We can hit OK, hit OK, keep going through. Now here we are on that cable fan in tag, but we can just, keep going back if we need to. So this is a nice feature. This was something that I think several people requested. So there is now a back option when you're doing the selective update. Okay, we've moved to a new drawing now. And what we're looking at here is a schematic cable fan in label. And I want to show a new addition to the SDS deref tool. So I'm going to just double click on this and bring up the enhanced attribute editor. This new functionality, you can see it down here. You can make any attribute function like the deref attribute or push deref data into any attribute just by adding format inst, format loc, format whatever you want. And so I'm just going to give this a value here. We're going to say %i for that and %l for that. And then we're going to hit OK. Then I'm going to run the SDS deref command, and I'll just select, and that brings in this installation value and this location value. This just allows a user to pull in data from, the other end of a cable marker or things like that. I think it will create a much more flexible workflow. And I think there's just a lot of things you can do with this. Again, any attribute, just put format underscore in front of it, and it will then function like a deref attribute. All right, now the last thing that I'm going to show in this video has to do with work points. And so we're on a drawing. Let me just zoom out real quick and show you. This is a pretty big drawing, and we're going to deal with work points over here. And an enhancement to the work points feature is that you can now have multiple work points on a specific cable trench or cable path for out in the yard or whatever. So if you're going from here, from this transformer to this position over here, you know, now it will actually calculate straight from here to here, there, and there. It doesn't have to go all the way up to the end of the trench and come back. That was a bug fix that was added. But in addition to that, you can predefine a trench path or a cable path or whatever with multiple work points. And so this is set up so that we have C path C002.A, and then the next one in the list is .B, and then obviously we've got .C, .E, or D, and then E. D is here and E is here. So we're going to want this cable to follow that specific path. And I've drawn a polyline, and just so that we can see, you know, the overall length of that is 1,013. I think this is in inches, and so let's go ahead and convert from inches, because the report's going to show in feet, 84 feet. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the report. The first thing we want to do is we want to hit extract work points, and that just pushes work points out to a file that's stored inside of your project folder. And now we're going to go ahead and run a report. We're going to run the cable from to report just on this active drawing, and we'll do from all to all. And then we're going to do a user post, and we want to do a cable schedule path work points data from DWG yard layout. All right, we're just going to hit OK. And it brought up a window over here. It was on my other screen, and it's asking where is this data? It's in this workpoints.txt file. So here is the one that we are interested in, and you can see it came in at 86 feet, which is within, I think, the tolerance of what we had on our actual polyline, which was 84. And so you see now we are moving. We're not just going straight over and then straight up and then straight in. We're moving along this sort of semi-circuitous path. And so that's totally customizable. You can move your work points wherever you want them to be. And then one other quick enhancement to the work points is that we now have rollover capability. And so you can see what the path is. So if I roll over C, you know, you can see I'm going down here, back over here. There's B, and then there's A. Well, as you can see, there are a lot of great new features in the latest release of the Substation Design Suite toolkit, and we've really only hit the tip of the iceberg. Again, this is version 7.4.2. Now, if you're not using AutoCAD Electrical or the SDS toolkit for your intelligent substation design, check out substationdesignsuite.com or contact Spatial Business Systems for more information. This really is the best tool on the market for intelligent substation design, and using it is going to save you and your organization a lot of time and money. And if you're already using the software, but you need some assistance, maybe converting standard libraries or building symbol libraries or with some custom Lisp tools, contact us. We would love to help make you successful.